Welcome to the Chlorine Callaloo. This is episode 20 of season 2. This is our chlorine news flash. I'm Liam Carrington of Barracuda Swim Club. We are streaming live on Facebook and the YouTube pages of Trinidad Freestyles and the Facebook pages of Mauvais Lang, Sydney and Boisson and Center of Excellence Swimming Pool Complex. Remember to follow us, like the pages, and share the live. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel by searching Trinidad Freestyles. In the headlines, Carter wins 50 fly at ISL. Pie for Pan Am Junior squad and TNT won CARIFTA. Wait, when was that? And now our chlorine news flash. Dylan Carter is back home in TNT after finishing the first leg of the International Swimming League ISL. He will return for the playoffs, which start on November 11th. The London Raw will be in action on November 13th and 14th as they take on Toronto Titans and Aqua Centurions and his old team, LA Current. The playoffs will take place in Eindhoven, Netherlands. Carter ended the Naples leg with a national record of 22.36 seconds in the 50-meter butterfly, reaching his old mark of 22.38. He also again swam the fastest leg in the London Raw's victory in the 4x100 freestyle and won silver swimming the freestyle leg of the 4x100 medley relay. Best wishes and congrats to Dylan. Germany emerged at the top of the medal table of the first leg of the FINA World Cup, which took place from the 1st and the 3rd to the 3rd October in Berlin, Germany, with 6 gold medals in the collection of 16 medals. Germany topped Australia, who also had 6 gold medals, but emerged with 10 total medals. The USA earned 19 medals, 5 of which were gold. The FINA World Cup continues this exciting short course schedule of events. Leg 2 will be this weekend from Friday in Budapest, Hungary, with Leg 3 in Doha, Qatar from the 21st to the 23rd of October. The final leg will be in Kazan, Russia from October 28th to the 30th. FINA will culminate the short course season with the World Short Course Championships in Abu Dhabi from December 16th to the 21st. 5 swimmers have been selected to represent Trinidad and Tobago at the inaugural Pan Am Junior Games, which takes place in Colombia from November 25th to December 5th. Graham Chateau, Kiel York, Nikolai Blackman, Ornella Walker, and Gabrielle Donahue are enmarked to the team TTO's representatives for the swimming segment of the Games from November 26th to the 30th. Mozi Dinoon has been selected by Assad as the head coach manager. Congrats to the athletes and the coach. In Chlorine Callaloo news, this is episode 20 of season 2. We go back to the time when I was 2 years old and Trinidad had last won CARIFTA. That was 2010. Why aren't we winning CARIFTA again? In our live voice segment, we examine how we achieved our CARIFTA 2010 victory and why we haven't been unable to recreate this success. Tonight we have Miss Hazel Haynes, who was the head coach of that victorious team. We also have the manager of the team, Gary Morales. We also have one of the CARIFTA 2010 athletes and my coach, Christian Homer. In 2010, Trinidad and Tobago won CARIFTA, won CSC, won CISC, sorry. I won the Youth Olympic Gold CAC medalist and Commonwealth semi-finalist. Let's see if they could come up with solutions for us to get back to our winning ways. But before we get there, we will talk to some of our supporters who went to the 2010 CARIFTA, who has seen Trinidad and Tobago ascend from 2010, 2006 to 2010. Avril Baptist is the mother of former national swimmer Kareem Baptist. Mrs. Baptist will be joined by Jessica Chin, who is the mother of Rejan Chin. We don't know how Jason Wickham got in the mix, but he will be there too. And yes, she is back. Sydney Ann is back. We are all chillaxing again. And reminiscing on the good old days when I was not born yet and when dinosaurs ruled the earth. And unfortunately, tonight would be the season finale of Chillaxin. We will surely miss Sydney, but not just Sydney. Because in more sad news, next week is episode 21st, and it will be last for the season. Season 1 and Season 2 are both 21 episodes, and we are taking a break from Chlorine Callaloo. But stay tuned to Trinidad Freestyles for further information. Stay tuned. Up next, we are chillaxing with Sydney as we go way back in time. I'm Liam Carrington of Barracuda Swim Club, and this was your Chlorine News Flash. Wait, and just in, breaking news. Next week, our visualized chlorine champion will be two-time Olympian Dylan Carter. So we end our season of Chlorine Callaloo with a big splash with Dylan. See you next week. Good evening.
Hello. Hi. Whew. Let me see. Wave your hand if you missed me over the past few weeks, because I missed you guys. I did. This is it. This is the grand finale of season 2 for myself. But next week is when they say they drop the gavel. That's it. No more. No more. I mean, I just want to thank you all for tuning in every Tuesday and sharing your evening with us. Welcome to Chillaxin. Who's here for the first time? Say something. I hope you all have something to drink, because it's Chillaxin. So we chilling with Cindy Ann. So just have something in your cup to drink. Take a sip. Just let's get ready. This is exciting. I mean, this is exciting. Liam said he was 2 years old back in 2010. I was 6. No. But that would have been good, right? So tonight, joining me, we're going to talk about supporters, because we know in anything, whether it's sport, whether it's life, whether it's whatever you do, you need support. And parents were a huge part of swimming or any sport, but in swimming we had an iron woman. Avril was our iron woman. Avril, I hope you have your iron with you tonight to give me something. We can't hear you. I can't hear you. I'm not hearing Avril.
Avril, stop pressing the mute button. Let me do it, right? Talk now.
Okay. I won't have my iron.
All right, we'll give you 2 minutes to get it. Jessica, Now, Jessica was the anthem woman. You know, you always have somebody to lead off the national anthem whenever, before they even touch the podium, you stood up.
How you mean?
I hope you have the lyrics to the anthem ready because we ending with that. Avril will give you something in the background. You giving us the anthem. We would like Jason to just log off and give us a chance so that you wouldn't ruin it. Hi, ladies. Oh my gosh. You remember your first time? Avril, you remember your first
No.
time?
Yes, I do. Are you all hearing me?
At CARIFTA.
Your first time as a CARIFTA supporter. Thanks, Jason.
Are
As
you
a
all hearing me?
friend.
Yes,
Yes,
you
sir.
are here.
Okay. I think my first time was really as a with Goodwill with the children, you know. But yes, I do remember the days of CARIFTA also.
So you started with Goodwill. Where was it, locally, or did you travel with the team?
No, I did travel with the team.
Oh, nice.
So,
So, and what you felt when you got there and you realized it's no longer about Kareem, it's about Trinidad and Tobago. You know what I mean?
Yes, it was. It was very interesting, I must say. It was, and you know, it was uplifting. It was inspiring, because you know, at one point when you thought was your child, it become your children.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
everybody child become yours. You know, and to have to look out for everyone. You know, all these children around. You know, because at some time, most parents won't. They used to go with their children. So all of a sudden, you become the auntie or the mommy of most of these children that they look
Yes.
to. You know, and that was really nice. That was a nice period of swimming. You know, for us, it was.
And Jessica, what was your first time as a supporter? Where were you? Which?
My first one was 2006 CCCAN in Puerto Rico, because Regine never made a Goodwill, and I didn't think she was ready. But when I heard CCCAN, I said, wait. And then my husband had a policy. He never came to the pool. He never came to support. But he said his daughter wasn't going anywhere unless one of us traveled with her. So guess which one?
It was always you.
It was always me. Always me.
My
But then,
first time as a supporter, Jason, I'll get to you because you've been a supporter for everybody from, I guess, from 19. What year you were born? 1951?
34. 34.
34, I'm sorry. You've been there from the get-go. I was there. I remember that my first Keegan made Goodwill. And it was home. It was actually in Trinidad, so I didn't have to travel. But it was nice because, I mean, you get to go with your cooler, with your drinks. I don't know if that's what we should be focusing on tonight, but I'm just being honest. You know what I mean? You could have walked with your cooler. We had a nice rhythm section. It was just like you said, Avril, it wasn't about Keegan. It was about the team and just that team spirit. You know, Jason, when was your first time supporting the team?
Well, I actually was on the team with Avril in 2005. I was the manager, and she was one of the chaperones. But actually, that was Goodwill as well. And then my sister had made, well, it was a last year CARIFTA, and I don't think anybody in the family ever saw her swim at a CARIFTA. So I went up to, that was Barbados, I believe, in 2006.
I'm trying to remember which team was Keegan's first. I can't remember the year. But so let's go to Aruba 2008. I think we were all there. You remember that?
Yes.
Oh yes. Which one?
Aruba 2008.
2008, Aruba.
Okay.
Yes, we stayed by Stanley. Was a lot of us stayed by Stanley, the dog house.
beautiful dog house.
Listen,
Wow.
and that year we didn't even win,
No, we didn't.
but we
No, but
behaved like
that
if we
day
win.
was great. I think that is the year when most of us parents who had children in competitive swimming, that is when we gelled.
Yes.
Because when you stay in a house that had 27,000 rooms, you didn't have a choice. And I figure after that most beautiful experience, that is when we came together. You know?
So,
Yeah.
so what do you think has changed? Because it doesn't seem as if that's happening now.
Well, all the games I went to, I mean, not only was my role the anthem singer, but I just undertook the role to ensure that every parent that was in the stand had something to do. I remember telling Nicola Pear, "Were you waving?" Because she was very shy at one of her first trips. She say, well, I say, well, you have to get something because when the bacchanal start, you can't sit down like a chupidi, you
Right.
know. So I just undertook the role of making sure everybody had something.
So
And
you think
the parents just like it was automatic for Avril to appear with iron.
correct?
I remember Jason used to find a drum. Even
A
if it
bucket
wasn't
or
a
bucket.
steel drum, I'm
A
not gonna say
bucket.
that. Something with a drum with a handle. But we
Right.
ended up with a drum. I remember one year I borrowed the Jamaicans' drum, right? And the competition was stiff between Jamaica and we kind of were not speaking. But when our children had to go up on the podium, I needed a drum, and then I did teach them the anthem a little before games started. We went across, we ate from them, two of us, because I remember Eddie
So,
came across saying he was hungry and the food didn't reach yet, so we got food from Jamaica, made friends, taught them a few words of the anthem and tell them we'd come back. And every day they learned a little more.
so what do you think is the reason? What is the reason that it's not happening now? You think it's because nobody's taking on that leadership role to kind of bring that together, or is it just because of this,
I
this
think
women community has changed?
I think it'll be. I mean, honestly, I think it'll be unfair to ask them that because they're not a part of the community right now.
So none of you go to swimming to support now anymore. You don't go. When last have you been to meet Avril?
Wow, the last meet I think I attended to was when was it Sisican in Trinidad and Tobago? Was it? Yeah,
2017.
I think I volunteered for that, and that was wow. That was wow. I mean, it's like Sisican in Trinidad and Tobago. I had to be part of it, and yes, I volunteered, and it was wonderful. It was that was my last time attending swimming anything in Trinidad, beside myself swimming. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jason, what do you think? Because you're more on deck, you're more involved. What do you see? Because I remember I came to a meet at your pool, and I think I was announcing or something,
Right.
but the parents were on their phones. Nobody was cheering. The kids were swimming, and the DJ was blasting music. And at one point, I said to Jason, I'm like, ask the DJ to lower the music. It's not a party. The parents need to be cheering the kids on. People were just, so maybe is it that because of phones, people are more locked into their phones and social media. We didn't have that as much when we were there. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
didn't have it
So I guess we had to focus a little more on the children. I
on the
guess.
kids
Yeah.
and on each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, is that what you
I mean,
think?
I,
Jason?
I could talk on a national perspective about the experience I had in 2018. And it was a shock for me that I couldn't even stay for the CARIFTA, to be quite honest, because I didn't go, I was in Jamaica, but not for CARIFTA. But CARIFTA was going on in Jamaica. Trinidad and Tobago was there. You have to go and show your face a day. And I mean, back in the day, what used to happen right after the last race finished, somebody would be saying, okay, we have 5 anthems to sing. Like, prepare yourself to sing the 5 anthems, make noise or whatever. When I'm telling you, when I went across there, sometimes we have like 5 anthems for the whole meet. And sometimes parents are not there to embrace the little victories that we have. And I think we as a community, not just swimming, but Trinidad and Tobago, have become a lot more selfish. And I
Definitely.
think we don't look at the national interests as a people.
So
But
what?
even but
Go ahead.
even the coaches too, I found with the other mates, when you had your head coach and your assistant coach, for example, I mean everybody knew the love affair between Edmund and Hazel, but when the two of them went with a team, they gelled. They were there for the kids.
And and then that, I mean, we're probably going into the next segment, and that's something that we had going in 2008, 2009, going into 2010 as well. And
Right.
I think there was a different spirit in the sport. Um,
Yes.
there was a different spirit. I would say too that, like, for example, Stingray brought a different dynamic to the sport, right? They brought a new energy to the sport and the introduction of South swimming, and the South people had a vibe. And they came and everybody, you know, you go to a swim meet, you make sure you talk to people from every club and you give them good fatigue and you tell them all kind of strippiness about itself and whatever. But at the end of the day, what we seen at the end of the meet, Trinidad and Tobago is getting a stronger team because it's good swims all over. And I think that environment, you know, helped. It just helped everybody support and everybody come on board, and you saw it in the performances. I think we're going a little bit in the next segment, but that's what I think.
Because I want to, yeah, that's what I was about to say. So let me say this, because I'm thinking maybe because new parents are coming in, they are not seeing what we experienced, so they think this is the norm.
I guess so, yeah.
So if we were to say Avril, what can you say you benefited from being such an avid, like a supporter of the sport? What did it mean to you? And how did it help you as a parent with the sport?
Well, for me, the love of swimming was always there with Karima's from the age of 3, kindergarten, straight up to 21. And you know, for me, I still market swimming because it's a love I have for it. So through the years of being part of swimming, being a supporter, being a chaperone, you know, where my child was my child and other people's children were also my children, you know, because up to today, you still hear Auntie Avril, you would go out and they would meet you and they would greet you. So I think I gained a lot from it. You know, I gained a lot of friends where people didn't understand, how come this woman from a different club of rivalry going on? How? You know, they didn't understand that togetherness that we had, that we would put aside when it comes to supporting our children on that level. Everything went to the back burner. When we come back to Trinidad, we want our child to win when they swimming. But when we travel, we were one. Each one, everybody became one. And that was nice. I mean, it's a nice sport. I think it's a total rounded sport. It's an all-round sport. It's balanced. And I enjoyed it for years. I mean, we can be doing more still, but it's probably not, you know, available for us to that.
What would you say you gained as a supporter? And what would you say to parents of kids? How will you try to convince them to be more engaged, to be more involved? You know, what would you say to get parents hyped up for this role that they're now undertaking as a swim parent?
Well, my first experience, as I said, was at Sisican in Puerto Rico. And I went there, but the club that I went with was not a club anymore because it was a TNT team. So I couldn't hang on to the people in the club because they had roles. So I now had to depend on the parents. And strange enough, I made friends with the parents from the South because a lot of parents from North was not at that Puerto Rico meet. You know, like the John Williams and those are the people I made friends with. And when we came back to Trinidad and we had the first long course after that meet, because I was located in Woodbrook and the South and East children had far to go, the Friday and the Saturday night, my house was full.
Right.
They had boys in the hammock in the gallery. They had people on cushions on the floor. And Rayshan's bedroom was packed with people. And the next morning is one set of wet pillow I had to put out to sun and thing. These were children that were rival teams.
Right.
When they came to my house, they were hugging up each other and laughing and talking.
Yeah.
It was a different, that was something that really touched me. And I say, you know what? I in this thing.
Right.
I in this thing for life. Because it was just not just a sport. It was a camaraderie they developed.
And a community.
This batch of children, they were not limers anymore. Remember the opening of Movie Tongue, that was something new. That did not attract them because their focus was on the swimming, you know?
So is it because for me, what I gained as a parent and going to swimming, same exact thing as you guys, as well as it was a real good opportunity to learn different cultures for me. Like when I went to Barbados, so we went to Cuba or Jamaica, you were able to see the differences, how people, what they eat, you know what I mean? You get to meet other parents and you learn their routines with their swimmers, if it differ to your routines, and you know what I mean? So that allowed me to learn more about the sport, more about different cultures, see my son interact with other kids of other parts of the world. It was just an all-round wonderful experience. And so I just want to ask how you guys feel that we've not won CARIFTA since 2010.
But
Wow.
Cindy, you said something earlier that resonated. And I think that is one of the main things. I think Avril mentioned it too. When we go as parents, I went several times as chaperone. And, when you go, you don't have a child there. I remember Rajan was telling the children, my mother don't answer me when I say mommy, but if I say Auntie Jessica, she will ask, so who calling? And every time we went on a team, she called me Auntie Jessica because something happened and you morphed into an auntie and were no longer a parent.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that in itself, you had a responsibility that was a fantastic responsibility. And it was, these children were so loving, they were focused, they knew what they were about, and they will come to you and they will open up and they will talk and they will say what they feel about what the coach said to them, and you will just have to tell them, listen to your coach. I'm not a coach.
Yeah.
Da-da.
So I don't want us to, I don't want us to stray too much, because we have to kind of just know we have to end because Jason times us. I don't feel we here all night. We just have a segment.
It's swimming, we just go by times.
By time we go to we don't want to get DQ. We don't want to get DQ here. Avril, what would you say to encourage other parents today? What advice would you give them? What would you?
Well, from my experience as a parent to not only my child but to other children, become involved in the lives of the swimmers. Not only your child. Find out what's going on in other children's life, because I can remember it had days when we had meets certain places in Trinidad that children weren't able to get to, but because of the togetherness we had, we would what they call it now when you have to share your car when you would share your
Carpooling.
vehicle, carpooling. Oh my God, we used to carpool. Sometimes the parents can't go. Okay, how you going? How you going? And we do these things, and by doing these simple things, we get to know the family, we get to know the children in particular. I think they need to open up a little more and, welcome, different children into their children space then. Because I believe people now are a little more selfish, self-serving. It's all about my child. I think when we started swimming, we all started like that until we realized, hey, listen, it's not about us. We all huff and huff in the stand and these children hugging up and good. And we're like, okay. So then we learned how to come together as a parent, as a auntie for the children. And I think that's what the generation now, the children have to realize, okay, it's not only my mom or my dad I can rely on, but I can rely on, okay, a competitor parent too.
All right.
Before
Jason have to wind up one more time, I want you to tell me, Avril, I'll stay on you and then I'll go straight to Jessica. Okay. One of your fondest memories as a supporter.
Okay, for me, Aruba was our best because for me, we didn't win, but on the last night of the meet, I think we agreed that we would invite all the parents that went to Aruba, wherever they stayed, who stayed where we stayed. A lot of us stayed together, and we had this big barbecue, and we had karaoke. Oh my God, that was like, yes, that was like it was, nice. And for me, the guy who had the guest house, he had me making a whole bucket of barbecue sauce for him to keep in Aruba.
Jessica, I will come to you.
Nice.
I second that Aruba trip because I remember counting dogs and making fun of it. And Stanley became my pen pal. Stanley was the manager of the guest house, and he became my pen pal. We talked for years afterwards,
What bothered me with Stanley is when he was selling, he had pies he used to sell, and he had chicken pies. And then when you ask him what was in the other pie, he would say meat. And he would never say exactly what kind of meat. And every 2 days, a dog went missing. I say, you know what?
That's why I counted dogs.
Oh,
Every night I will count the dogs.
Jason, what was your fondest memory?
That Aruba 2008 was, I mean, we were there when Trinidad and Tobago won in 2010, but it was something about that Aruba 2008 for the supporters. I mean,
Yes, it was. Yeah.
regardless of, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, you would have certain stereotypes associated to certain groups.
Yes.
It didn't matter. Everybody was there, regardless of who swimmer was in the water.
Yeah,
Everybody was
yeah,
there.
it was.
Everybody was supported. I think that was Dylan's first meet, I believe. And I remember Tracy cried every race. Tracy cried every medal. And everybody dance, everybody support. We get the drum. The Aruba people give us their drum. I think Paul Homer was there too, because he was beating drum too, I believe. It was just a great, great spirit. It transcended for a few years after, but
it did. It did.
Yeah.
That year, I think, was the year Keegan won, I don't know, like 12 or 10 gold medals or whatever.
It was crazy.
That was a nice week.
It was, my favorite was Jamaica. One year we were there and we had a wicked rhythm section. That to me,
that was 2010. That was only one.
That was 2010. To me, that was because the rhythm section was on point.
Cindy, you were just uneasy with Stanley dogs. That was the problem.
Yeah, I don't like the dogs and the meat surprise of the day. I don't like dogs. So that's it. I just want to I want to say to parents with kids who swim to get involved, as Avril has said, as Jessica has said, I just want to echo their sentiments. It's just so much more than being a parent of one swimmer. It's about being an aunt. It's about being, sometimes you have to be a doctor, a nurse for the kids too, an ear to listen to. So just get more involved. Put your phones in your handbags when you get to the pools and just watch the kids. I told them, watch the kids in the water as if it's your money swimming. You know, like if it's dollar bills floating in the pool, because that's what it is there in essence. So pretend you throw your money in the pool and watch it, you know, watch it some butterflies. Yes, and that's it. So this is it. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Avril. Jason, thank you. This is my last episode for this season. So, but you can follow me on Instagram at Cindy Ann Boisseau. You can follow me on Facebook, and hopefully one day come and see me perform live.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Be safe.
Say bye again, Cindy.
Okay. Bye again, Cindy. Bye-bye, everybody. Be safe. Take care.
Right, good evening and welcome back. And this is the Life Boy, Saving Aquatics, one guest at a time. And we're supposed to be talking CARIFTA and, well, Trinidad and Tobago swimming and the progression from 2004 to 2019. We had a magnificent year in 2010. We heard some of the parents just talk about some of the experiences. And we just want to get a little more in-depth in it. I'm waiting for Mr. Morales. I'm not seeing him as yet, but by the meantime, I'll bring on Mrs. Haynes. Good evening. Let me unmute you. Good evening, Mrs. Haynes.
Good evening, Jason. How are you?
I'm alive and well. I don't know if Mr. Morales get a little cold feet, but he was just here.
No, Mr. Morales isn't known for cold feet.
Yes, he isn't known for that. Well, in the meantime, while I'm waiting on Mr. Morales, well, Christian not supposed to come in right now, but we could bring him in anyways, since he's here and he's waiting. Good evening, Mr. Homer.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Wickham and Mrs. Haynes.
Hi, Christian. How are you going?
Good, thank you.
All right, so as we had previously advertised, we're talking a little bit about CARIFTA. And Christian, well, since I have you, let me start with you. How you felt hearing about some of those stories from the parent side or the supporter side?
Yeah, brought back really good memories. it was a flood of nostalgia there for sure. Would love to be able to replay those memories again. And I believe they were a real big part of why we were so successful back in my time. Just knowing that you have the support of not only your individual parents, but the whole camaraderie between the parents really did assist with creating a really good vibe for all the athletes to feel, the support behind them. The rhythm section, the cheering, the singing of the anthem. Those things, in my opinion, go a long way in terms of knowing that, people have your back, not only your teammates and your coaches, but you have a whole crew of, parents really pushing for you and pushing for the entire team. So it was really nice to see the aunties, they call themselves, and they really were aunties to everybody. And I take the opportunity to say thanks to all of them for all the work that they did to allow us to have the success that we had.
And Mr. Saying, from the coach's perspective, that especially that time, 2007, 8, 9, 10, and the CARIFTA noise, how did the coaches feel about it, or from your perspective?
But I mean, it's always great to hear support coming for the swimmers. But I just want to say what a wonderful opportunity it was that I got being a head coach of that 2010 team. And I want to just be able to say thanks to all who made it possible, because I think it was really a highlight in my national experience.
Mr. Saying, do you mind adjusting the camera a little bit? Because what happened is the name kind of blocking you out a little.
All right.
Right. So, because I know you would have described that meet was described as a monumental success, that CARIFTA 2010. And maybe we could, while we're waiting on Gary to come on, the meet itself, or that, let's talk about CARIFTA 2010 itself. What was it about that CARIFTA?
But I think we had a lot of talent on the team. Every swimmer on that team, if I recall, was able to contribute points to the team. And we had about 29 of the swimmers winning individual medals. So we had a team that had a lot of depth, in addition to having a lot of outstanding swimmers. Because when you looked at the medal count, there were swimmers who won 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 13 medals. So you had swimmers who won 1 or 2. Every medal counted. Every point counted. But the team itself was really an outstanding team. So I think that was one of the big advantages. Maybe the other Caribbean islands weren't as strong as Trinidad and Tobago at that time. But since then, they would have done some homework, and they would have had some strategies, and they would have, figured out, listen, what do we need to do to upgrade our swimming? And so the difference between Trinidad and Tobago and the other territories started to be reduced. And we are where we are now.
Mr. Gary Morales, welcome to Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Welcome to Chlorine Callaloo. When last you had a good Callaloo?
But it's been a while,
We will have to work on that.
Yes, actually, I saw somebody in New York have Callaloo bush that they said that they sent in via FedEx, so I may have to do that.
Yeah, and I'm sure it might be cheaper than Trinidad. But anyway.
the way things looking, it might be.
Gary, you got to grow your own Callaloo, man. That's not hard to grow. That's not hard to grow.
So, Gary,
yes, sir.
First of all, Gary Morales was the manager of the 2010 CARIFTA team and the CISC team. And if I don't say both of them was victorious, you go tell me something. So both of them were victorious, Gary. And Gary was the manager of both. Gary, tell me about that CARIFTA. Tell me about that CARIFTA 2010 event. What made it special?
What made it special? The again, as Hazel was mentioning, the depth of the swimmers, and also sometimes what I have found is that when you create an atmosphere for success and for people to do their best, you get a lot of surprises along the way. So like as Hazel was mentioning, we had the top performers, But then you had some serious surprises that really, brought about the whole atmosphere then that kept building. So like, for me as a manager, when I would look for the first swim, and many times you could correct me if I'm wrong, but we had some long distance swims that was the first, and sometimes Stefan Sharp would give you a big swim.
Right.
And that sort of set the tone for what took place. So it started the atmosphere and the rhythm of the swimmers. So everybody now wanted to come and emulate what they saw. So you would expect big swims from guys like Christian, from the Riggs, from again all the other guys who was there, the Cadells, what have you. But then you would have some people that showed up and give you some unique swims. I remember once, I think Chloe Macmillan, she came on like she wasn't even expecting the medal and gave you a silver medal. So these were the special swims that added to the whole atmosphere of the champions. And then the camaraderie that was built, you look at the friendship that was there among the swimmers. And then your administrative staff doing as much as they can to keep the swimmers comfortable as possible. And I think one of the things we try to do is keep the swimmers focused on swimming, and the administrators deal with all the administrative issues without communicating or passing on any of the whatever stress or tension there might be between administrators and the organizing committees and so on. But you try to keep such a focused view on what you came to do then, so that they could perform, because they are the ones that would bring in the results you're looking for.
Right. But Christian, you were based abroad. I mean, you were here for 2008 CARIFTA, right? That was Aruba, right? And then you went abroad. And so you came back for the 2009, came back for the 2010. How was that experience? I don't know if there was a difference between the 2008 team and the 2010 team. How was the experience coming back into the Trinidad and Tobago dynamic? Did you see any difference? What was it?
You mean coming from England to locally to join the team?
Yeah.
No, it was a seamless transition for me. I think, as Mr. Morales said, the administrators did a really good job of making sure everything ran smoothly. I distinctly remember, I believe it was the 2010, I believe, there was even transport for the national training sessions I was a part of. There was transport provided for the Southerners to get up to UTT Chaguaramas to train twice a week. I think we got meals after every session. So the preparation was really, really key, in my opinion, of what allowed us to have a good run into the meet. In my opinion, to the gelling of all these swimmers on those teams, whether it's 2008, 2009, 2010, was out of the tour. It was really, really impressive. Because I mean, outside of competition, we were all friends anyway. And locally I'm talking about. So that when it was time to compete for the red, white, and black, we were all on the same page in terms of going out there, and we knew what our mission was. We were going there to win first place, to break records, win relays, win individual goals, silver, bronze. So I think we, as the swimmers, were always really focused, and I do want to echo what Mr. Morales said, that the administrators, coaches did a really good job of ensuring that we were focused and that we had everything, all the resources we needed to succeed.
Right. Mr. Morales.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Sains, to your recollection, when was the last time we tried to win CARIFTA?
I don't know that you could say we don't try to win CARIFTA. I think when any team goes out,
or set it as an objective.
I think that a lot of ingredients go into success,
right.
And we had built up to the 2010 situation because we had swimmers representing well in all the age groups except one. I think it was the 13 to 14 girls that just had 2 swimmers. So nothing just happens instantaneously. You build up. And from that, you have to continue to accentuate your positives and to correct, you know, the negatives. And I don't know if we have been doing that as clinically as we should be doing, you know. Probably we just maybe thinking things will fall into place, or we don't understand the amount of background work or the amount of cohesion that is necessary, not just at the competition time. What has to be going on administratively, coaching wise, etc., for a period of time to get the success that you want. It's not just a now for now story.
You know, Christian highlighted an important point: the whole build up to the competitions, where the preparation. So, like, you reminded me of a statement I made, and it's something that I forgot, that success is a planned event. And as Ms. Haynes rightly said, it do just happen. And it's a lot of selflessness, where people give up themselves selflessly to ensure that we get the product the results we're looking for. For example, you had parents who sacrifice a lot to get their kids to the pool, to pay their fees, to ensure that they learned about the sport, to ensure that swimmers did their best. We had a lot of keen competition between the clubs. Just around that time, remember, Stingray started to feel themselves and added a new impetus into the sport. So you find that you have this team coming from South challenging some of the Titans from North, and again, trying to build that sort of competitiveness in the sport. So you find that helped bring out the best. There was a lot of records being broken. And again, swimmers was pushing. You had money in the sport, which is a key ingredient. If you don't have the money, again, you cannot implement the plans and get the resources you need. And the national training, where, again, we try to cater for the swimmers. You know, you make them feel like they are important. You make them feel important so that they know that, look, I am going to do something because you have people behind me. It's not just me alone in this thing. And I feel like I am going to be rewarded somewhere along the line, not just monetarily, but the importance that they bring to the whole thing. So that I think there are a lot of things that added behind the scenes to ensure that type of success took place.
I just want to say that at that time too, I believe that there was greater cohesion and respect between coaches and so, because nowadays you would find that well, just to recount, we had about 90 to 100% attendance at training sessions, right? So that the coaching staff took the responsibility, not total responsibility, because the individual coaches were still coaching their swimmers for the rest of the week. So we cannot only credit the national coaches. But what I'm saying is that swimmers came, you know, to the sessions and performed at the sessions in addition to their club training. What we have sometimes now happening is that you might have a situation where, but when I say now, not only not over the past years, where a coach may feel that the national training session is not significant to the swimmers' performance, and therefore undermine what is going on at the national training sessions. And I think this plays a big part in what is going on, because we don't get the kind of attendance at national training sessions that we got in 2010. So if we have to look at building, what we're talking about, building the team spirit and building the momentum for the meet, because the problem is never among the swimmers. The problem is never among the swimmers. The swimmers gel, they're friends, they're chatting otherwise and everything else. But sometimes we, the adults, bring in aspects of it that tend to undermine what the team should be striving to do, and therefore we don't get the result that we would like to get.
I just want to butt in here and give the athlete perspective to what Mr. Sain just spoke about, because that's very important what she's speaking about is national training attendance is crucial. I distinctly remember all the national training sessions that I've been to. We used to race super hard. Those were some of the hardest sessions we used to have. Because you want to shine, you're racing against basically the top kids in the country. You want to impress everyone, you want to impress yourself, you want to have a good session. Not only that, but being in attendance for the national sessions allowed you to, one, learn the chants, two, learn the stretches, three, learn the routines, four, learn each other, right? Fall into line with the team vibe, the team spirit, gel with the coaches that's going to be there at the meet. So, practice your relay exchanges. I've noticed in the last couple of years we've been DQing relays, probably because we're not spending enough time as a unit practicing. I don't know, maybe. So just to hop on the point, definitely from a swimming perspective, swimmers really should be attending sessions frequently, just to have that all-around experience leading up into the meet.
So before we go forward, I just want to, well, you're going to see yourself disappear from the screen a little bit. I want to put a graphic up on the screen, right? Oops. Right, so this is our performances. I would have sent this to you all before. This is our performances in CARIFTA from 2004 to 2019. Well,
Jason.
Yes?
I'm not seeing the graph. I'm still seeing myself here.
Probably because it is not phone. Mr. Sains, you see it?
Yes, we see in the graphic. We see in the graph.
All right, well, Gary has sent you already, so.
Yeah.
Right. So this is just the white line you see in there. That's the total amount of medals we won, and the red line shows the total amount of gold medals we won. So both of the graphs kind of mirror one another, and you will see that there was a progression going straight up to 2010. There was a big drop in 2011, and it seems like since then we really have not recovered from that drop. If you want to see the information contained within, let me just go to the next, right. So this is a little graphic of our places, our medals. So you would see in 2010, we had our highest medals, which was 94 medals with 46 gold medals. We were first then. I put some additional notes at the side too, because I wasn't able to get all the medals from 2003 going back. But you would see Trinidad and Tobago 96 first, 97 first, 98 first, second, first, second, first, right? So we're just seeing a trend that, hold on, moving across here next. This one is Sisikan. Sisikan is a little bit different. Oops. Sorry, hold on a sec. Right. Oh, this one was just showing our places. Now, in this case, the going up in the graph is not good because it means they come in a lower place. So it shows that we were first, second, and then, well, you see where we progress onto. Right? And this one is Sisikan graphic. Sisikan is a little bit different because the numbers fluctuate from meet to meet. Sometimes a certain country comes, sometimes they don't, right? But Yes, let me just bring back Christian. Right. So, I mean, there's a distinct pattern, right? I mean, you all were talking about the things that we had in place, the national team training, the cohesion behind with the coaches. I would like to add something into that too, and the fact that we had qualification criteria that came into place in 2006, and persons would know a year in advance the times they have to achieve. So coaches would know. And let's be real, you would be able to sit down and now strategize. Okay, whoever, let me look for you for the 50 free, as opposed to this time. You had enough time to sit down with a document and see what times I could achieve. So coaches had time to plan, right? And we spoke about resources, etc. So it seems like we have some of the ingredients necessary to at least get a better performance, but it seems like we put the ingredients in the back of the cupboard and it's starting to spoil right now. Is it that, I think, well, I'll talk. I think that we need to start back having some kind of direction in the sport. It seems like Trinidad and Tobago has, it seems like we don't even want to win the CARIFTA. It seems like it's not a goal. Unfortunately, we have had a whole generation of swimmers who have never even experienced winning a CARIFTA. And I don't believe CARIFTA is a be-all and end-all of everything, but that is at least the staple we have had over the last years. And we normally have the same countries there for the last 2 years. And if our ranking is changing among the same group of people and it continues to go down, there is a big problem that we are not addressing. And it contains some of the elements that you talked about there. You all have talked about in the past and probably some more. So what do we have to start to do to get this graph going back on an upward trend? I'll start with Gary.
I mean, I can talk from a
full disclosure. Gary was a secretary of ASAT. I was on the executive of ASAT in the past as well. So we were in decision-making roles.
So basically, one, as you mentioned, the swimming criteria, but two, there has to be a concerted effort on the part of leadership to decide that this is important, this is a priority, and we start putting measures in place to ensure we achieve certain goals. And that has to filter down now from the administration at the, let's say, the ASAT level, the executive level, that has to filter down to the clubs. And that comes through some sort of meaningful engagement where we identify our clear goals and what we believe is necessary to meet those goals. Again, the executive don't directly interfere in clubs' business, but there's where now the clubs now that develop the swimmers have to have some sort of, again, program in place to develop the athlete that we need. One of the things that I believe is needed at the club level is, again, the whole thing about parental involvement, parental education. Your coaches have to be on top of their game. And I'm going to say something that may sound a little bit contradictory, but I hope, Hazel understand. Coaches have to know their boundaries to meaning. Coaches are not psychologists. They're not nutritionists. They're not everything. Coaches, I believe, they're the technical side, but I believe there has to be also the expertise in the nutrition area, the expertise in the psychological area, because we see now that there's a big issue now with athletes and the whole psychological health. And that is an important part of the development. And it all goes into what is taking place in the country. For example, is money available for the parents? Because swimming is an expensive sport. And it takes, as I said, a selflessness when you have to And this is where we have to do the economics now. The gas in your car, the sacrifice from the job, the money for fees, the money for nutrition, the money for the resources for swimming, the trunks, the equipment, what have you. There's everything has a cost to it. So therefore now, to build and develop these swimmers, you need to have all these ingredients coming together. And pool time, administrative support, parental support, the full 9 yards.
Hazel? This is Shane, sorry.
That's all right. Just to continue with what Gary is saying, you have to build the momentum. I remember we used to have a lot of we used to have persons coming from abroad. Clubs used to organize experts coming down. ASAT used to organize experts coming down. This used to thrill the coaches, thrill the swimmers, thrill the parents. When you organize a session with a foreign expert, the parents hustling to get involved, to get to attend, and all this sort of thing. We don't have all of that going on right now at all, and it might be because of the financial situation, right? So that is one area that has sort of declined. I remember a few years ago, coaches asking for help. Coaches who had just come into the swimming fraternity asking for help, asking for direction, and that was supposed to happen. But the only time we seem to get anything organized is when there's a competition. And it can't just happen at competition time. You have to be building all the time, so that although we have more clubs in our association now than ever, how many clubs are producing swimmers? And therefore we need to look at that, because if you don't have strong competition going on between the clubs, then you're not raising your whole standard nationally, which is one of the points we were making leading up to 2010, that we had this aggressive competition between the clubs, etc., etc. And so everybody was putting, rising to the challenge. But how many clubs do we have really producing swimmers at this time, although we have this large number of clubs? So I think from an administrative point of view, that should be concerning. And therefore, some sort of strategy should be put in place to assist clubs who, because clubs did ask for help, because, they needed it. They needed direction. They needed information. They needed strategies and all this sort of thing. And that is what we're talking about with the planning. When new clubs come in, is there anything in place to assist these clubs to build, to grow, etc., or everybody is just each person for themselves, and you get by as best as you could, and that is not how. And I don't think an organization will thrive. So we need to look at the things that really are the ingredients for success. What do we stand for? What do we value? Right? How are we building one another? Because when one gets strong, or more get strong, then we all get strong. But if we only thinking of our own little selves, then is not going to produce the kind of result that we want. So I think that all areas need to look at what is going on: administrative, technical, parents, swimmers. Life has changed a lot between 2010 and 2021. A lot of different challenges. The education of children is taking a greater priority. How can we balance that against the kind of demands that the sport has in terms of training and all this sort of thing? So we really need to have much more discussion. We need to have much more planning. We need to strategize some more. We need to respect one another more, so that we can enter into serious conversation about how we can really build our sport and take advantage of what resources we have, and see where we need to improve, where we need to structure, how we can structure, and therefore raise the standard of the swimming in the country. But all of us staying separate and each person doing their own little thing in their own little spot, and some people not getting the kind of help that they need, is not helping us grow. It's not helping us grow.
Well, one thing I alluded to, I mean, we did have, I think back then, clubs were a lot stronger, as in financially, as in numbers wise, everything. Clubs were a lot stronger. I used to look forward to actually go down to that Stingray meet, the October Classic. I mean, you used to see everybody come out. Sometimes you have probably close to 300 people going out there. I think I agree with you, Mrs. Haynes, that there are a lot of things that we have to look at. Yes, we have to do more planning, but I want to ask a hard question. Do you think we have...
As you talk about the October Classics, I remember, again, to create some sort of excitement, I remember getting 9 phones and giving out phones for cell phones to swimmers. And
it was an election, yeah?
Yeah, but Gary, we all know why you could have got 9 phones, so don't come with that.
No, but still, I mean, you may not
you were using your resources for the benefit of this sport.
Mrs. Haynes,
yeah, that's a good thing.
And Gary, Mrs. Haynes had a B-Mobile meet too, eh? So she want to AC a defender there.
Well, well, we hope we still have, eh? We hope we still have.
Yeah. Jason, I just wanted to say something.
Sure.
Just following the same trend of what that Mr. Morales and Cecilia were talking about. My thing is, I would probably want to see implementation of a perennial national training squad. I mean, it should be fairly simple to know let's just say the top 3 swimmers, male and female, in each event. Right? Let's say they get instant access to the national training squad. We review on a yearly basis, right? We use data. We have a data collection system. We have all the times. These kids will get access to, let's say we create a technical team with technical coaches. It doesn't have to be foreign. I believe we have the technical excellence and knowledge and ability and capability locally. I don't think we need to bring down anybody to do that, right? And we have access. We give them access to physiotherapy. Give them access to psychologist, nutritionist, trial and coach, whatever they need. So we spend the money, we invest. Obviously, we need the money, but we invest in a national training squad and everything that comes along with that, right? I believe we will see a huge success just from that simple implementation. And I don't think that's hard at all to implement. Let's just say we have semi-mandatory training 2 times a week, right? Maybe a Wednesday and a Saturday. I mean, that's all. I honestly believe if we do that for a year, we'll see huge, drastic change in our meet outcomes. That's my simple idea.
You said, I mean, Mrs. Sin said, you know, we could get together, and you said, you believe we have the coaching talent to do it. Do you think we have the people necessary to drive this whole process? Because the coaches can't just get up at one day and just decide to put together a technical plan. Or let me go even more direct. Is ASAT as an organization right now capable of driving a process like this?
No, not in my opinion. Not currently. Not in their current capacity. I don't know if they're gonna have I don't even know if they have the will to do something like that, to be honest.
ASAT is all about that.
I know. I don't think we as a group have the will. Enough of us as a group have the will to get it done. Whether it is the executive or the council, whoever, I think we need to come together more, sit down, probably have a technical coaches meeting, and talk about it, flesh it out, let everybody throw their ideas on the table. We pick up the best pieces of everyone's ideas, create a plan, move forward with it. I think that's a simple starting point for us to move forward with, and I think we'll get extreme success from that.
Gary, how you feel hearing about that from your Stingray swimmer boy?
I think he's correct to a point, or he's correct because there has to be the will, and again, the agendas had to be pure. The agendas had to be pure about the swimmer. And if the agendas are not pure, then you're not going to get coming forth. And that is where I talk about being selfless. It has to be a selfless operation where it's not you, but you have to see the importance of the swimmer being developed to bring the results you're looking for. And that demands a certain amount of elevated thinking then. Okay, it demands a different type of thinking, and that is what we need. We need that type of thinking where, one, as Christian mentioned, and the word that came to mind too was networking, where there's a certain amount of networking among the local fraternity to ensure that we have this development taking place. So where we started, there has to be an excitement created among the swimmers that drives the parents to get out there. Because if they swim, hey, mommy, I want to go and train, I want to be involved in this, they would start to be encouraged to start pushing too, because these are the people who need to get the swimmers to the pools. Yeah. And they need to get involved to keep that excitement going. And yes, so therefore we have to have a pure agenda. We have to have a pure agenda that focuses on the development of the swimmer.
Just to add quickly to Mr. Morales' point there, the same idea of the national training squad. You mentioned a good point there. It'll be that in itself will be a motivational factor for kids to try to, top their age groups in their event, because then they'll get access to the training squad and access to all the resources and benefits that come along with that. So that would in itself motivate kids to come every day, train harder, push themselves, perform better at meets, because they know what's in there. There's a streamlined path where I have a way to get onto this national team where I'll be afforded certain benefits and resources, which will then propel my career even further. So I really think it's something that we
incentivize.
Yeah,
correct.
And again, once you put certain things before people, so like as you said, the times we started to develop the times, and that those times are filtered through. Hey, so a swimmer know, look, hey, this is where I am, and this is where I need to be. And this is the process it takes to get there. So now it gives them a vision to work with. So remember, it's your mind too. So you're getting a vision going, what do I need to fulfill this? I need to do, if I'm doing 10 push-ups, I do 15. If I'm running 5 miles, I run 10. If not making the full set, I have to make the full set. What it takes now to get from where I am to make these times, and then to when the times are set, it is a competitive time based on what is taking place in the region. So once the swimmers start making these times and this vision is in front of them, and they start doing what is necessary to get there, and added to, as Mrs. Sain saying, if you have so many clubs and people asking for help, therefore somewhere along the line, they need to get the help they need to develop what is within their sphere of influence, their swimmers. So again, the agenda again has to come back to what is the primary purpose of what we're doing.
And just to extend the idea a little bit, not just at the top level, we need the swimmers coming together, because I remember at one time we were also looking at a second tier, bringing those swimmers together and trying to build their momentum and trying to build their confidence and self-esteem as well. So
Yep.
A lot could be done, A lot could be done. But you have to have people who are really keen and interested and want to see, passionate about the development, and then things happen, right? But if everybody stays in their own little corner, not much will result, I don't think, at this time in our development. I don't think.
And then the other thing is having good learn to swim programs too, to get filtering more and more people into the sport that you can build on.
Gary Morales, this is the first set of times in my life I ever agreed with you,
the first time you really sit down and listen to me with that pure agenda.
Your pure agenda.
No,
Gary, We could have our next program here, you know.
Yeah, so again, you learn to swim because it's a whole developmental process. It's a whole developmental process.
And Gary, I think part of the reason we need to get more people swimming too, eh? And that's a simple thing too. The introduction of that pool in South, right, has, I mean, done so much for swimming in Trinidad and Tobago. And we have so many pools and so many nooks and crannies across Trinidad and Tobago that we do have that kind of thing going on. And I think even just by probability, getting more people swimming will probably get us, it may have some better swimmers out there too. You'll increase your talent pool. So with pushing your learn to swim, having a structured learn to swim, going straight up to your competitive and having the whatever frameworks we need in place to get that athletic excellence that we want.
So that is where now you have your talent identification and what have you to help you now identify those that start to progress pretty quickly, the gifted ones. There's always the gifted ones, those that will start to head out, start making an advancement. And you look at those that you could build with, there are a lot, and that is the critical eye that is needed to develop the sport, because you have late bloomers and you want to keep them in the sport so that they too could contribute.
I remember a while back, there was a conversation about trying to reach out to these community pools and see what talent is there and all this sort of thing. I don't think we do anything working with those facilities and reaching out. So although we have maybe even doubled the number of pools in the country, we haven't doubled the number of competitive swimmers.
Actually, I checked something, and between 2010 to 2019, in the national championships, at no time we have passed 300 swimmers. It's 200 and there's 200, and that's from 2010 to 2019.
And I think that might have been it since I am in swimming.
And even the invitational to the numbers just trickling over 300 sometimes. And before even that meet used to have, I mean, that could be something else with foreign swimmers, but the numbers there are pretty small.
I think cost has really also had an impact, because club fees and so that have to be charged that now in order to keep your club viable and all this sort of thing is out of the reach of a large percentage of the population.
And that is what
that's why the community pools are so important.
Correct, is right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, let's be real. I mean, for example, at Center of Excellence, sometimes we have 3, 4, 5 clubs at a time, sometimes at different times, right? And I mean, it could be a challenge for clubs for all kind of different reasons. Let's be real, I mean, it'd be great to be in your own space in general, right? Because of the nature of, and we have had it in the past, plain talk bad manners. Sometimes people at pools and all of a sudden you're swimming in the next club, right? those things are real things, and those things are
coaching.
I think access to these community pools is a major thing that is needed right now. I mean, it will allow clubs, for example, it will allow a private person, if they want, to charge the fees they want at their facility. And it will allow those who cannot maybe afford that fee to go to the community pools and get a service. And if at some point in time they decide, okay, I can make it a private club or whatever it is, but that access to the community pools, I think, and even our aquatic center is critical, is critical to the development of the sport.
Yep.
I could just, we just had a short stint there at the aquatic center, and although we were training less sessions, having the facility of the 50-meter pool in which to train, you saw the improvement in endurance, and so happened much more quickly than training in the 25-meter pool. So that as you're talking about the access, and I think the president of TTOC was talking about that just recently as well. So many of these facilities are underutilized, and how we can speak with the sporting organizations to get them utilized at an affordable rate. Because the other thing is it becomes inaccessible if the rate is too high.
Right.
So So again, finance tends to play a big part in the driving of programs and that type of thing. And you have to be able to get the funding and the sponsorship and that type of thing to make things happen.
Before we feel like we're in a council meeting and going over time, but the only difference is I feel this is a much more positive conversation than we are accustomed having. And I think it's conversations that need to we shouldn't be having the 2010 conversation in 2021. Not making any sense. I didn't say it doesn't make any sense. And we haven't tried to see what we did wrong, what we did right. We just ambling aimlessly. And I think we really need to sit down, because I agree with Christian. I do believe we have the coaching talent in Trinidad and Tobago to get kids to athletes to the next level. Sometimes I hear people talking about bringing in a foreign coach, but I never hear anybody say, let's bring in a foreign administrator, because that is our problem. Our problem is administration. And our problem is putting in the policies in place so that coaches don't have to be beggars. Right, coaches could have a decent standard of living, right? You create a community that, somebody who goes into Learn to Swim knows that, hey, this is my pathway if I want to become a elite athlete. And if I don't want to become an elite athlete, I still have a pathway, because all of these people belong in swimming. And let's be real, in your club, you need the very best. You need those who are utility swimmers, because they have bills to pay too, right? So I think I want to start to wrap up at this point in time. So, and
just at that point, Jason, remember too, they may not be a top swimmer, but if they learn the mechanics of the sport properly, they could be a part of your Learn to Swim program in building that aspect of the swimming population, because they have an expertise that they look. There are some people in remote areas that have Learn to Swim running, that have swim clubs running.
Correct.
And they may not have been in the top tier, they may be in the second or third tier, but they learn the mechanics of the sport well enough to be able to train somebody properly and bring them into the sport.
Yeah, and well, I see somebody in the comments saying, you have different national meets based on standards. So I was having a conversation with somebody the other day. Like, developmental meets in this country have just evolved. Right? It's not like there was a plan. So you could have different meets. You could have meets with 25s. You could have meets with 50s. You could have different things you could do to get a lot more people swimming. You could have meets every weekend. We just have 600 people at a secondary school, 600 at a primary school, and sometimes in a meet, you're trying to reach a 200. The math's not mathsing. Right? So, Christian,
yeah.
Any final words?
I would just like to see us come together, put the best of ourselves on the table, and I think if we work together, we could come up with something that will be for the betterment of the country and for the betterment of the kids. The kids have to be the number one priority, and we have to put things in place for their success.
Mr. Morales,
let's have a pure agenda. Let's have a pure agenda for the. And again, too, development is not, for example, one of the things that really helped me as an administrator really was doing some human resource training, which helped me now to be able to interact with, again, different people, different philosophies out there. What are these leadership philosophies? What is their philosophy really? Every leader is supposed to have some philosophy. Sure. And all of this now really snowballs into what we're looking for. So you find that, again, the whole focus, let's bring it back to the swimmer and their success, and build the whole thing around their success.
And Gary, as you're bringing the phone, we had some good PR back in those days too, eh?
Yeah.
We had some good PR that used to report on performances and things like that. Anyway,
again, all of that adds to the whole getting the optics out there, having things visual, yeah. Right. So that the wider community knows what is taking place in swimming. Because I remembered when we were having all those successes and it was bold on papers, I would always get questions. Hey, what is going on? How things coming along? These guys really training that hard, and what are their regimes? So people were trying to get information as to what is taking place, what it takes to build a swimmer. And that too helps with, again, contributions coming in.
Mrs. Haynes?
Well, I would say we need to redefine who we are, what we stand for, what we want to achieve, how we're going to achieve it. And I think that conversation is important. We had a lot of opportunities to have those conversations over these last few months because we weren't in the pool. I think we missed the opportunity to really get together and plan and strategize. But better late than never. So that's what I think we need to do, because people have come into the swimming fraternity, and I don't think that, if we ask who are we, that everybody has a clear understanding who we are, what we stand for, what we want to achieve, how we getting there. These are simple questions that require big answers, and answers that we need to sit down and collaborate about and come up with a whole plan and strategy, short term, long term, medium term, goals, and how we get in there. So unless we do that as an association, I think everybody is just on their own, and it's not a situation where therefore together we're working to get the best result possible.
All right, so I'd like to thank Mrs. Haynes, Mr. Homer, and Gary. I really want to thank you all for coming and sharing with us. I mean, to be quite honest, a national discussion like this nature hasn't happened in whenever. I will share the information with regards so people can see the performances, etc., and let other people start to ask some questions. Why were we there and why are we here now? I don't believe CARIFTA is the be-all and end-all of everything, as I said. I mean, we can have different discussions of if certain age groups should go CARIFTA. We could start to talk about if certain age groups should go Goodwill. We could get into all of that, right? But we need to have the discussions to know, if the meets are working for us, what's not working, what's working. And I agree with what most of the contributions that you all would have made during the course of the night. And I'd like to thank Mr. Morales, Mr. Homer, and Hazel Haynes for coming on to Chlorine Callaloo. Next week is our last episode. We'll be having Dylan Carter on, so I hope you all tune in as well. So thank you very much. And
thank you for having me, and thank you I hadn't seen Gary in a long time, so it was good to see Gary. And Christian is a rising star, so it was wonderful. And congratulations, Jason, for all that you are trying to do during this time.
No problem. And we have a guy. Anyway, let me not talk about Gary.